Hello and welcome back to another episode. Now today, oh man, I want to talk a little bit about my first impressions of a game franchise which I've heard so much good stuff about over the years. People I know in different walks of life were just saying you need to play Silent Hill. You need to get into that, because I'm a big Resident Evil fan. You know, I love me a little bit of Raccoon City. I love some of the slightly ridiculous elements of Resident Evil, like the puzzles in the police station, this kind of thing. And so many people were saying you need to play Silent Hill, and god damn it, were they right. Silent Hill is brilliant. Now, you hear in sort of different mediums, you hear this phrase or the idea of returning to Silent Hill, people being compelled to either go there or to return to this place even though it's horrific. And that is exactly what happens to you when you play the game, or play the games. Now, so far I've only started, as it were, Silent Hill 2. I've been playing Silent Hill HD Collection on the Xbox 360, and and even though it's horrific, even though it's a terrifying world, you are compelled to return because you want to know what's going to happen in terms of the story. You feel as though you're leaving the character in that horrific place when you log off or whatever. You know, when you save and go away, and you don't want to leave them there. You want to know what's happening next. And in that sense, Silent Hill is just so compelling. And it's fascinating. Now, there were a couple of things I know about Silent Hill. So, for example, I know that the designers of the first, I think, game deliberately put in there lots of left-hand turns. Supposedly, whether you're right or left-handed, you find it easier. One finds it easier to turn right at a junction than we do to turn left. So what they were doing was they were putting in lots of uneasy, subtle, psychological little hurdles for you. And knowing this, I was playing Silent Hill 2 thinking, come on, just stay with it. And for a long time, I couldn't. The game's been in my collection for a few months now, and I'd only ever got to just beyond the graveyard because noises start happening. You start feeling as though someone's looking at you. The draw distance, even though it's the HD remake, they kept the draw distance with the fog really close to the character. So as you're going along, you feel, even when you're outside, you feel claustrophobic. And in that sense, it's a triumph. It's a design triumph. They're doing the Ridley Scott thing. They're doing the Alien thing, where you're left to imagine what's out there. They don't show you the monster. They don't show you the horror. At first, anyway, you're just left to simmer and boil and tick over for a while. And this simmering and boiling, well, god damn it, it was getting me. It was getting to me. so I didn't play it for a while. I sort of stopped, and I was just, I can't, I don't want to go through that door, that kind of thing. But a couple of days ago, a friend of mine was staying over, and she was up for giving it a go. And I thought, yes, okay, together we can do this. Together, we'll egg each other on. When one person gets scared, the other person can take over on the controller, and hopefully we'll get further. And we did. We got much further. Now, we're up to the apartment building. So there's 2 apartment buildings. They're sort of, well, they're not joined, but there's a little gap between the buildings that you can hop through from a fire escape into a window, interestingly. So I'm up to there, and I'm just about to try and do a coin puzzle. So I've got 2 out of 3 coins for this coin puzzle. But I just had to make this video because it's just so effective, this game. For example, and this is a slight spoiler, but you know, so what? There's a moment when you get a torch in the game. You're like, yes, torch, win! I can grab that torch. It's on a mannequin, and it's a little bit like Resident Evil because you've got these sort of fixed angles. So as you go into the room, the camera is away from your character, looking at your character from behind the mannequin in the middle of the room. So the camera's kind of like over there. If the camera here is the mannequin, the game camera is over behind the mannequin, and I've sort of just walked into the room and I go, oh look, there's a torch. I go to pick up the torch off the mannequin. You put the torch on like a lapel, which has incidentally, this torch has the best battery in the world. But anyway, it goes on the lapel. And because your character can suddenly see now what's behind the mannequin, boom, you get this new camera angle, and there's this fucked up like double mannequin thing, like the legs, like you get sort of, 2 pairs of legs from a mannequin, stitch the hips together, and it's this sort of this thing that sort of sort of walking on, and it sort of hits you, attacks you, and you're just freaking. I mean, I freaked. I chucked my controller on the floor. I was like, what the fuck? And then this is where my friend took over, you see, and so so on and so forth. And it just gets more and more messed up the more you look into it. And the problem is actually is the mundane setting of the game. It feels like a normal place. It's a block of flats. It's a town. It's fine. But there's just this messed up shit everywhere. The first monster you bump into is this sort of like thing that looks like it's in a straitjacket, or it's its own flesh. It's sort of writhing and spitting acid at you from its chest. It's in the Silent Hill film if you've watched that but not played the games. And so that's kind of freaking you out anyway. And when you don't quite kill them, they sort of they crawl around on the floor, and you have to kick them with this really weak kick. This sort of boom, and they die. Really, really weak ass kick. But anyway, so all that, and then the worst one though is Pyramid Head. Now I know Pyramid Head is designed for this character in Silent Hill 2. I know he turns up in the film and other games, and I know a little bit about the reason why he exists and why he is who he is. But oh man, the first cutscene, I suppose, that you see with him in is just freaky. Like, we're going along, there's this flat that's unlocked, we open the door, go into the flat, and then it cuts this cutscene where you sort of, well, this is what happens. I mean, God, is that assault? Is it sexual violence? Is it all of the above with a little bit of guilt thrown in, because he kind of sort of, you know, writhes under the weight of the pyramid that's on his head? So creepy, and it's all in this setting where you have where people seemingly have been living. You know, you've got the stains on the walls where pictures were once hanging. You've got notes and wallets and stuff shoved down toilets, and you've got rubbish, and it's really good at instilling in you a sense of disgust. Actually, the emotional response that you get is disgust, and disgust is so powerful. It's much more powerful than just fear. You know, if you're just scared of something, you can get over that. You can man up. But if you're disgusted by something, you have to deal with it. You know, you have to sort of dive into that experience and force your arm through this hole to get, you know, it's perfect, pitch perfect, because disgust takes so much longer to get over than fear does. And I mean, for example, there's this moment, I've just come across a cutscene where you bump into this guy who's being sick. He's just being sick over and over and over again into a toilet. And again, there's that sense of disgust, that noise, the surroundings that he's in, the sort of the rundown bathroom. It's all perfect. And I've had a few people say to me, told you. Told you you'd like this game. And I do. I love this game, but I'm also, god damn it, am I horrified by it. And I'm, like I say, I'm disgusted by it, and I'm scared of it, but I'm also compelled to go right back in and carry on with that storyline. And I know it's only going to get worse. That's the worst and best bit about this, is that I know it's going to get worse, but I just want to go back. I need to go back to Silent Hill, and I love it. I'm absolutely loving it, and it really actually also really highlights how I still quite like the first Silent Hill film. It had a bit of a sort of an art house kind of filmed style to it. The second one, this really highlights how the second one is just a blunt instrument, just like a hammer trying to get you to be scared, you know. Silent Hill isn't about that. Silent Hill isn't about sort of just going, look at the dead body, look at the guts hanging out. No, it's more likely to make you put your hand in there, you know, and then root around a bit, and then turn on a torch and see what you've been doing. That's what Silent Hill does to you. And as I say, I'm, what, a quarter of the way in, if that. Nonetheless, I simply had to make this video just talking about how much I'm enjoying it. I really am enjoying it, and this really highlights what I've said in previous videos, is that element of going back and rediscovering games that you either didn't play because you were biased against a certain console, or going back and experiencing games that you couldn't afford when you were a kid. And when I was a kid, basically I couldn't afford a PlayStation, couldn't afford the games for it, and therefore I had a slight bias against it, and I always assumed, oh well, no, it won't be as good as the N64, won't be as good as the GameCube, won't be as good as the Xbox 360, I just won't bother with it. But whoa, this is such a good advert for diving in and accepting that actually, if lots of people say something's good, it's probably going to be good in some way. You know, you're probably going to be able to find something in it that you're going to enjoy. And with Silent Hill, I really have. It's oh, I'm loving it. Anyway guys, as ever, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.